We gather neath the steeple as part of your herd, to sing of your praises, to hear of your word. But it ain't just 1 hour when we hear our Savior speak, 'cause the echoes of Sunday are heard all throughout the week. The echoes of Sunday ringing out through all my life. The echoes of Sunday give me comfort when in strife. Oh, to hear of your mercy and to know of your grace. The echoes of Sunday help me see my Savior's face.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Echoes of Sunday podcast. It's a bit of a special one today. It's our first one with the intro music, which you guys just heard. I'm once again joined by Logan.
Hey guys, we're very excited to have a resident tutor on campus here at MLC, Tutor Bush. He lives in the Summit dormitory, which is the dormitory for the juniors and seniors. And he's been here. This is his third year on campus. Welcome, Tutor, to the Echoes of Sunday podcast.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on the podcast. I'll be honest, this is my first podcast ever that I'm doing. I'm excited for the theme music. I thought it sounded great. I pretty much only agreed to be on the podcast if you started doing theme music, so.
I remember that in the email, yeah.
So way to go, you guys. Yeah, thanks for having me.
How's your third year on campus been, Tutor, so far?
Good, it's great. Do we need to explain what a tutor is? Do people know? I don't know what your listener base is.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I have to explain it? I don't know if I know what it is. I'll just talk about what I do. How about that? I don't know if I figured out if it's what I'm supposed to do yet.
3 years in, still learning on the job.
Yeah, I like to say that I'm on the remedial post-seminary track at MLC. So, yeah, I needed a little more time to hone in on my craft, I guess. No, that's a joke. I love tutoring. Tutoring is, I guess, a bunch of our schools have tutors, but they're recent called workers who live in the dorms and often teach and often coach. The two tutors we have here at MLC are both pastors. A number of our schools have tutors, just a catch-all word for young called worker living in the dorms and just figuring it out. Trying to interact with students, that's the goal. Yeah, that's my goal. That's been my goal. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but we're working on it. We're trying.
You teach some classes too, right?
I teach 2 sections right now of Bible, History, and Literature 1. We do have a graduate of my Bible, History, and Literature 1 class.
Yeah, I was in the first one, right?
You were in the first
Freshman year, yeah.
Do you know I tell people that was my favorite class ever?
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you just saying that for the podcast?
Maybe. No, I do. I told my wife that earlier today. We were discussing my new crop of students. Yeah, that first class though, they were just so good.
Wow, what a high honor.
Jack Pittenger was in the class.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Well, that was a shot to the ego there, but no, that's crazy. I was not expecting you to divulge such confidential information, given the fact that many of your former students and current students have probably listened to the podcast. So you might be hearing about that in class on Friday.
That's fine. I don't play favorites. Doesn't mean I can't have them. It's like parenting.
Wow.
That was a joke. I love both of my children.
What are both your kids' names?
So Benedict is 3 years old. He's recent to being 3. And then Abel is almost 1. He's got a couple more weeks left of being 11 months old, and then he'll be 1 year old. Yeah, so they're incredible. They're a lot of fun. They grow every day. So try and soak it all in and make the most of it.
It's been fun. It's been fun to even see as a student just how much Benedict has grown in the last 3 years.
I know. He was a little 8-month-old when he first got here now.
It's always one of the highlights of my day when I see him like at the cafeteria just making faces or running around the campus. Just, yeah, it's been a joy.
You enjoy my misery when he's causing trouble. No, I love it too. That's the way 3-year-olds are. They're not designed to be totally controlled. They're fun. They're energetic. That's how God made them, and they don't always fit into our little finely crafted societal norms, at least the way that some people would like it.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of being a college student and seeing your kids is kind of what I imagine the equivalent of being like a grandparent is, where it's like we get to like have fun with them and like play with them, and then we don't have to like be the ones to go home with them and like calm them down. We just get to like mess around with them, like wire them all up, and then just here you go, back to mom and dad. They can take it from here.
You just get to enjoy it when Benedict chucks a cup around the cafeteria. You laugh, you point, and then I deal with it. Yeah, exactly. You guys are like grandparents. It's great.
So the first question that we always like to ask our guest tutor is what their faith story is. So just what has your faith life been like through the years? How has it grown? How has it struggled at certain points? Just whatever you want to talk about, whatever you take that question to mean, we just love to hear it.
Yeah, it's a great question. Great place to start. Well, my faith story begins where probably many of your listeners began at baptism. So I got baptized the day after my birthday in the hospital and had an affirmation at church, and that's where my story began. If you backtrack a little bit, that's probably where my story is a little different, maybe a little unique. My parents both grew up nominally Christian. My mom more so than my dad, but by the time they started living on their own, it wasn't a part of their life, really. Then they got married, and then a while later they got pregnant with me, and they started thinking about faith things again, thought that maybe they should have some sort of spiritual aspect to their child's life. And while they were having those thoughts and conversations, a Wells pastor went just going door to door, canvassing, knocked on their door, and invited them to church. And they took him up on his offer. And so they finished Bible information class just a couple of weeks before I was born. So I've always been a part of it, but they pretty much started at the same time I did, which is fun. I would say growing up, we were pretty much every Sunday people, very involved at church. I went to a Lutheran elementary school, eventually to Lutheran high school. I went to Wisco, so shout out to all the Wisco people listening. But I would say it wasn't necessarily something that was discussed heavily at home. It was primarily a school and Sunday morning thing. So prayed before meals, prayed before bed. Beyond that, not too much, really not too much. So it was later, I would say, that it really became my own. Maybe it always is destined to be that way when we're children. We're sitting at our parents' feet, and we've got that beautiful childlike faith, and it's only later that we get more in the way of ourselves, and that's when our doubts really start to creep in, potentially. For me, high school was a formative time for sure. I had a teacher in high school that I remember who really challenged me in a very positive way. He taught physics, which is not religion, but we started every class with a kind of devotional time. He'd assign us, a chapter of the Bible to read, and let's talk about it briefly at the start of class. And if I didn't do it, he would call me out for it. I was already pretty set on being a pastor at this point in time, so it was warranted. That definitely was a kick in the butt. That was very positive for me. I don't know if it was the best motivation tactic or if I would use it in the future, but that's what really got me into reading the Bible for myself.
So you were already thinking about being a pastor at what age?
In 8th grade is really when I started having the thoughts.
8th grade.
Yeah, so I didn't grow up thinking about being a pastor. I always had pastors, but I didn't know it was something I could do, to be honest with you. It sounds weird, but you don't grasp what you don't know. Yeah. And so in 8th grade on a confirmation class trip to the seminary, my pastor pulled me aside and told me to think about pastoral ministry. He said, there's people involved, you like people, and it's God's word, and you like that, so you should be a pastor. Like, oh, that's a great idea. I like those things, yeah. I've been kind of in since then, to be honest with you, yeah. So even throughout high school, I kind of knew.
That's kind of a unique story, I feel like. I mean, one, with the physics teacher, I feel like not very many people get encouraged to be in their Bible more and motivated to be in the Bible more via their physics instructor. That's interesting. But then also, I mean, it's pretty uncommon for someone to, have their mind made up from that young of an age that this is what I'm going to do. And I'm getting this idea from just a random suggestion or a random motivation just on a random college tour. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very blessed. I'm very blessed to have, there's a lot more people encouraging me than just that one pastor. But yeah, I feel very blessed. Not that my parents weren't supportive or anything, but it was still relatively new to them as well. Yeah. It wasn't on our radar.
First generation.
On our radar. So
like no one else in your family was a called worker or anything like that, right?
My immediate family were the only ones who are wells in my family. We're really the only ones who are active Christians in any manner. So it's not, it's I guess off the beaten path for at least my family.
That's a blessing. Wow. One thing that stuck in my brain was you said that a canvasser came to your parents' house and that's how they got to go to church. And whenever I think of canvassing, I don't know what kind of experience you have with canvassing, but it's just like, man, I'm knocking on all these doors. I'm hanging up these things on people's doorknobs. And am I even doing anything? What's the point of this? I want to have real conversations. And most people either they're already going to a church or they're uninterested. But I've never thought about it in a way where you don't understand how the Spirit is working in the conversations that people are having inside their house and how that one interaction can just provide that opportunity for them. I've never really thought about it like that. Like, it's more been on me at their doorstep, and that's the only place where I could do the work to get them to come to church. When with your parents, it's been building up for all this time. So that stuck out to me as very interesting.
Yeah, the whole topic of door-to-door canvassing is a little interesting. Everyone's kind of got their own opinion. I don't know what you guys think of it.
I think for me, like growing up in Washington, I'd go door-to-door canvassing with my dad as a pastor when I was really little, because he always found that more people were interested in talking if you had a cute little kid with them. But growing up in Washington in the later years, we never really did door-to-door canvassing that much, just because in a big city like that, it's not necessarily the safest. And we also just found other ways were a little bit more beneficial, or the odds of getting people to come in went up higher. So my experience coming into MLC was never very high. I didn't have a super high regard with it. But Logan and I have gone on trips before where, like daylight trips, and we've done door-to-door canvassing. And I don't know, a lot of people seem to have great success with it. So I don't know. I kind of see both sides of it, I guess. Yeah,
I often wonder if I will do it at my church in the future. Like if I have an event or something like that. Will I do it? It's tough.
Yeah, it's a little controversial. It definitely is scary when you're in the moment where you're doing it. I think it does depend largely on the area and also what your goals are. There are some areas of the country that are just more receptive because they are more generically Christian. Not necessarily that people, not that everyone believes, but they're more receptive to it. So I vicared down south. I vicared in Georgia in the Bible Belt, and we did a lot of visits to people in the community. We only went canvassing once a week, but then 3 other nights a week, me and my supervising pastor, we would visit prospective members or new movers to the area. I think at the end of the year, I'd visited like 1,500 people.
1,500?
Yeah. It was crazy, I know.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm. That's only one night a week canvassing. Canvassing is like cheating because you can get 20 or 30 doors knocked on. And this is not just like flyers. This is like trying to engage in a conversation if they're home. Yeah. So it was a lot. People were probably more receptive in that area than they would be like in Washington, especially, in places that aren't traditionally Christian, like the Deep South is. I think it's like anything in ministry. It can work a little bit. There's not one surefire method.
I do think that like how a lot of churches have adapted to is, I think back in the day, door-to-door canvassing used to be one of the main, if not like the main way of like harvesting like souls. Like you'd go out and you do door-to-door canvassing, and that's how you'd bring guests to church. I think in later years, at least in my experience, I think I've seen more churches still do it, but they have so many other different things going on that instead of it being like the main source, it's just one of the ways they're trying to get in. And I think for me that would probably be how I'd use it in my church, is follow a similar pattern, I think.
A thought that I've had about canvassing that maybe you guys will find helpful someday in ministry. Sometimes the purpose of canvassing isn't even just to bring people in. I think one of the great benefits of canvassing is training your people how to engage someone in conversation and how to have a Bible-based conversation. It is a bit of an argument from the, call it lesser to the greater. It's a lot easier to talk to a stranger about Jesus than it is someone you know, which isn't intuitive, but I think it's probably true if you think about, I mean, I can have a conversation with someone I'll never meet again about anything. It doesn't, who cares? But someone I know, that's when the pressure's on. But if you can get people practicing talking about Jesus with strangers in less pressure-filled situations, I think that's something that will benefit them in their conversations with their family members, with their friends, with the people who they already have a relationship with, and might actually take them up on the invitation.
No, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about this the other day, how many just strangers there are out there. Like, we don't know anything about these people that are on the bus with us or walking on the sidewalk or anything like that. And everyone's afraid to engage in a conversation with a stranger. But you could literally tell them anything about your life, and it's most likely not going to matter because you're never going to see them again. And you can tell them your deepest, darkest secret. And I don't know, that would probably be an interesting place to start because it would open up conversation and probably give way for them to share a little bit too. But just thinking about that and how it's like, yeah, I probably should just start conversations with people and maybe say something that isn't, like, I'm not comfortable with saying to my friends or my family, maybe not like too serious or anything like that. But just don't be afraid to get personal with people, because I think once it's like a reciprocal thing, it goes back and forth. So I was just thinking about that the other day, and that brought it up.
Yeah, it's interesting because we live in about the least connected, interpersonally connected time in world history, even though we have the most connectedness to around the world. And I think the thought of talking to someone that you don't know, it's got to be more terrifying than just about anything else. I know that the old trope used to be people fear public speaking more than they do death. Yeah. I think people fear talking to other people, just in general, more than death.
Speaking in public.
Or in private to anyone.
Speaking in public to anybody. Generally,
People are not meeting new people. They're not making friends or building deeper relationships. People have called it a loneliness epidemic.
Oh, that's funny. Like, when you're doing door-to-door canvassing, I've had more conversations with people through like their Ring doorbell than I have through the actual face-to-face. So I would be willing to bet that some of those people are probably people inside the house that just don't want to come to the door. They are. So it's like, yeah, that's where my mind went when you brought that up, because I think it's very true.
Yeah, there's the old saying, you can look at the world like everybody's your friend or nobody is. It's like, well, sure, you might be safer, I guess, if you look at the world like no one's your friend, but really you're just missing out, because that's not the way that Jesus looked at the world. Yeah. He was very open and friendly with everyone he met.
Yeah, and it's just the natural design of humans. We've been built to need each other.
Yeah, you need that social connection, interaction.
Yeah, and we don't just need deep relationships. We also need a number of maybe more surface level relationships too. Like, you need consistent people in your life who you're going to keep bumping into, and some of them you'll get deep relationships, some of them you won't, but just functionally we need ongoing communication with others. And it's a scary world if people aren't going to be willing to open up and talk. And I think we've got a great opportunity to slice through this loneliness epidemic and extend true, genuine friendship and care. And I think we're going to meet a lot of people along the way who haven't talked to anyone about their problems because they haven't talked to anyone. Yeah. And we're going to get to share God's love with them. And I think this is a huge pathway forward for us Christians, at least in 21st century Western world.
Amen.
I do think that's something honestly remarkable, is when you look at this idea of communication, it was like fundamental since creation. Like, in the perfect Garden of Eden, I mean, God saw that it was not good for man to be alone, so he makes a suitable helper for him. And then not only that, to fill like the loneliness in Adam's life, the way that God created the opportunity to communicate for Adam and Eve is through words, and it's through speaking. So it's like there's this idea that even in a perfect world, we still would be communicating through words. And I mean, that is like the fundamental way that we were designed to talk to people. And I think it can be easy to get distracted with like all the cell phones and different technologies where you have so many different ways to communicate without using words, like audibly. But that is definitely still the perfect or original God intended way for us to communicate.
Sorry, that the canvassing thing just stuck out to me. Yeah. But I'll let you go on with your story, wherever you want to pick it up.
No. I mean, that was a fun place to stop.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else, where else you want me to go.
So you wanted to be a pastor from 8th grade.
Yeah, we're in high school still. Yeah.
and was that? I'm sure there was some wavering. Probably there wasn't, or was it all the way through? You were just undeniably pastor all the way.
Yeah, and I think there is a separation between what I wanted to do vocationally and my own faith life. I don't think I can't recall any serious moments of doubt in my faith life. I can recall, at least there's one particular moment that sticks out to me. Probably, yeah, like one and a half moments where I did have serious doubts about being a pastor. One of them, the most serious one, occurred my first year at the seminary. So you call it junior year because sem is weird. So first year students are juniors, second year students are middlers, and then you're a vicar, and then you're finally a senior your fourth year. But my first year at seminary, I gave what every seminarian gets to experience. I gave my first sermon to a little classroom of 12 guys or something like that, and President Gergel. He wasn't President Gergel yet. He was my homiletics, my preaching professor.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, we saw that classroom.
You saw the little preaching classroom?
Yeah.
It was in that room, yep. You saw the little preaching classroom? It was in that room, yep. And I thought it went just so poorly. I just thought it was horrible. And it was not a pleasant experience. Get up there and you fumble around your words, and then you finally, say amen and sit down, and then your classmates tear you apart. It's not tearing apart, but it is being critical. And I just sat there and thought, I don't know if I can do this. So it took me a few days. I remember calling my wife, Hannah. She was still a student here at MLC. I remember calling her that night. Just like, I don't know if I can be a pastor. I just had such a miserable experience with preaching. I just don't know if it's for me. That wasn't a faith doubt. That was just a vocation doubt. A few days went by, and a lot of people said very encouraging things to me, a lot of good friends. At the end of the day, every first-year seminary student, their first sermon is going to be objectively trash. Maybe not, but you guys will be different. You'll break the mold. No, it's...
I don't know. You have to do that sermon completely with no manuscript too, right? Even as a junior.
Flying solo, no parachute. You jump out of the airplane and see what happens. Something like that. Yeah, it was kind of a horrible experience. I got over it. My next one went a lot better. I've been mostly fine since that point in time.
Yeah, honestly, I think from the time that I started here at MLC till now, I think you've gotten better too.
Thank you. Yeah, wow.
From the time that I started here,
there's no way to get better without just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I think I have too. This is the experience. This is practice. There's no way to get better without just doing it.
I think it was the president at the seminary. We just got back from a trip down there, Logan and the rest of our class. And I think it was him that said, usually vicar year, until vicar year, you don't really know what you're doing as a preacher. You can get a little bit better, but it's really during that vicar year when you're preaching, I think he said 20, 30 times, that's where you kind of find your voice more. Was that kind of the case for you? During vicar year, was it just the before and after picture of you preaching was just drastically different?
Definitely, 100%, maybe 1,000%. Yeah, vicar year is amazing for a lot of reasons. Yeah, we can go into vicar year stories too at some point if you want.
Yes, those are the best. Those are so much fun.
Okay, I'll tell you my first vicar year preaching story. This is pinnacle. You're a vicar moment. It has to do with preaching. So it's like Thursday maybe before my first sermon, and I turned in my manuscript to my supervising pastor. You call it your bishop. And so whatever, I got it back. We're good to go. I'm getting ready, practicing it. And he just comes up to me at the end of the day, just like, we're going to go into the sanctuary and you're going to deliver your sermon to me. Like, just you? And the answer was yes, just him. And so he sat there and I preached in front of just him. And I think it's the singular most nervous I've been in my whole life. Wow. Way easier to preach in front of a bunch of people than it is in front of the one singular person, at least if it's that singular person. But overall, over Vicar Year, I personally felt the growth. I think definitely Hannah. I'm going to mention my wife Hannah a lot because she is anything positive that you want to attribute to me, you can attribute to God and then to Hannah. Absolutely, she has been such a support system and such a refiner of who I am. And that's not always. Well, we're gonna keep going through little side points. Logan, you're gonna experience this at some. Did you announce to the podcast?
I think listeners probably know that I'm engaged, right?
He's engaged.
If they don't know, I'm engaged. That's a whole story in and of itself, but we're not here for that right now. We're here to hear about Tudor's awesome Vicar Year.
But my wife has really just helped me so much grow as an individual. And that's not always pleasant. It is not fun when people are willing to point out the things about you that could be better. But there's no other way to grow than to have people in your life who will nitpick you in some regard and will make sure that you're being loving and faithful, and will remind you, I know you want to text that person about business, but also remember to ask how they're doing or say something kind to them, or it's not just all business. And that's an ongoing, continuous thing. And sometimes I'm happy about it, and sometimes my sinful nature wins, and I'm a little bit upset. But at the end of the day, it is ultimately been such a blessing, and I look back so fondly on all the little and big comments she's made about me personally, me professionally, me everything, and it is just a large part of who I am, and that definitely includes preaching. Definitely includes preaching. Definitely you grow in your preaching ability. I remember halfway through my vicar year, I had a meeting with my bishop, and we sat down and talked about kind of everything. We came to the topic of preaching, and he said something to the effect of, well, you've never had any heresy in your sermons, but you're getting a lot more interesting. Thanks. Again, those people in your life, it was.
Is that a compliment?
Yes, it absolutely was.
Sounds like a pretty straight shooter, your supervising pastor there.
That would be accurate. Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have just a crazy or funny, ridiculous story that stands out to you about Vicar Year?
Oh, that is a good question.
In our experience, these stories usually involve small children for some reason saying things or doing things that are very unexpected.
I don't know about the small children thing. Okay, so one time, I'm 4 nights a week going around and trying to knock on people's doors. This one time, I was doing called them new mover visits. You can pay a company and they'll send you 50 names and addresses a month of people who are new to the area. Mm-hmm. Oh. And so this is always a vicar job. I would go to those 50 people and invite them to church.
That's not intimidating at all, is it?
No, not at all. Once you've done it so many times, it's really not that bad. But I went to this one house, and I knocked on the door, and they opened it. I'm like, hello. And they're like, oh, come on in. And they invited me in, and they were showing me around their house. Like, is this going really well? I haven't even said my name yet. Is this going really well?
Do they know why you were there, or did you just show up randomly?
I just showed up randomly. Oh, okay. And they're showing me the house, and eventually and this is the bathroom. This is what we're gonna do. Like, wow, this is really great. And then eventually it became apparent that I wasn't who they thought I was. And they're like, wait, are you here to help us remodel our bathroom? It's like, no, I'm not at all. And they were good sports about it. They thought it was so funny. No, I'm not. You want to come to our church? No, we've got a church. This is so fun. And then the other person showed up, which was kind of awkward. Oh, well.
Afterwards, like after they're showing you their bathroom, they must have thought, man, this guy has like a weird interest in bathrooms. This is crazy.
I was all in. Yeah, we're going to fix this thing.
I've never seen anyone more invested in my shower drain before. Wow.
Welcome to the ministry.
Whatever it takes to get him to church.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that, one, I asked that question, and two, I cannot wait for some of my own stories like that. That's just stuff that you can't make up. That's just real experience. So.
And I'll be honest, they're not all positive stories.
Sure.
I think sometimes there's this false idea that vicar year is going to be nothing but easy and fun and positive and joyous, and that's just, it's not always the case. I appreciate and loved vicar year in many respects. It was also probably the hardest year of my life for a couple of reasons. Some of them just not in my control. For instance, I got a call. So we got to Georgia on like Thursday or Friday, getting installed on a Sunday. Got a call the first Saturday night from a member. And he was introducing himself and, hey, like, let me know if you need anything. And like, oh, this is nice. And then at the end of the conversation, he said, just so you know, we've had a lot of vicars here before. I always get really sad when they leave. So I've stopped getting to know the vicars because it's too painful when they leave. So I'm not going to get to know you. Dang. That was honesty. I was vicar number 14 for them. Man. And there were many times when I was vicar number 14. I was just another cog in the machine. That was challenging. We had a miscarriage our second week there, which was probably the singular most painful and most formative moments of my life. I grew a lot as a person, experiencing pain. You can talk about pain, you can conceptualize pain until you've experienced it. Until you've lived in the pit for extended periods of time, you don't know what it's like. That bubble burst at some point because we live in a world of sin. Mine just happened to burst while I was starting vicar year, which was a challenge. And Hannah definitely struggled a lot with that as well. So the first 4+ months, it was a big personal struggle. Of course, there was plenty of joy as well. Plenty of fun experiences, but I don't like when guys get the idea that vicar year is going to be this utopian-ish sort of society. I'm just going to go to the best situation. If you talk to Tudor Mortensen, he had an amazing vicar year, and I'm very thankful for everyone who has had an amazing vicar year, who will. But it's not the barometer for success. You can learn a lot through your struggles and through your pain. It's made coming to MLC so much easier. Yeah, I got all the first year scaries out of the way. You'll hear people talk about the first year ministry. You're just so overwhelmed. There's so much going on, so much to do. I really feel like I got that out of the way vicar year. I showed up at MLC and there's been stress, sure, but it's different. I've gone through it before.
If you're comfortable, can you share more about like what the recovery and building back from that, what that looked like for you?
Yeah, it was a long process. So August 24th, what year is it? 2021, I think, 2022. I don't know, whatever. 2021. There we go. August 24th, 2021. Yeah, definitely a day in my life that I will always remember that pain and the profound sadness that we experienced. From that point on, we had just a very rough, probably 4 months, 5 months maybe. 4 or 5 months. Yeah, friends were very supportive. One particular friend was particularly supportive. If you guys know Katie or Joey Ungamak, yeah, their brother Jake and I were in the same class. Well, okay. He ended up taking a year off because he got married and whatever. But he really supported me. He really was someone that I could and did call at random times just to talk, just to express my sadness, just to listen. So, Jake, I'm sorry for all those runs that I interrupted by by calling you. Amazing friend. Yeah. And I'm guessing he would say we've carried each other at various points, but you need those people who will help you. And again, it wasn't like a faith crisis or anything. My faith didn't go away. I don't think our faith weakened. It was simply a time of trudging through, but it wasn't. I don't think I was ever really fully. I wasn't angry with God. I just didn't understand that I could hurt so much. Yeah, and there, like particularly painful moments were Christmas Day, for example. I remember crying a lot on Christmas Day. My wife talks about crying a lot on Christmas Day. It was a struggle. And then eventually, slowly but surely, the days get easier, you get more perspective. God lets you see the sunlight a little bit more. Not that, I don't want to make it too doom and gloom. We were okay. It was very hard. just took time, and people have asked, is there a specific section of the Bible? No, there wasn't one particular thing. I would say just kind of kept going, just kept praying, kept studying, and just eventually the days got easier.
Yeah, I think for people that, it's easy to say, well, you have Jesus, so everything's going to be okay. It's like, well, yes, and especially if you've never experienced that level of pain before, you can't tell somebody how to feel, or that they should just, feel better because you have Jesus. It's like, well, it's still going to be hard.
Yeah, and that Jesus didn't model that sort of attitude at all. Yeah, Jesus, that act of obedience of Christ, living perfectly in our place, includes being a perfect friend in our place, includes, think about, he knows he's going to raise Lazarus, and he still cries at the tomb. He's still supporting Mary and Martha. He could have pulled him aside and said, hey, just give me a couple minutes. We'll be out of here. You don't have to be sad anymore. Yeah. No. He walks with them. He cries with them. And he still raises their brother. Was that all fake? Was that all contrived? No, it was genuine empathy.
I've heard from some Bible scholars that they wonder if Jesus crying, it might have even been in your BHL class, tutor. I don't remember. It was in some BHL class. We talked about it. It wouldn't have been in your BHL because that was Old Testament. It would have been Professor Dolan's. Anyways, that's beside the point. Some scholars think that the reason Jesus was crying was not because he was sad that Lazarus was dead, but he was sad because he had to call Lazarus back from heaven, like this perfect place, back into a sinful world and a sinful body. And I was just curious if you have any take on that, or if nothing else, maybe the listeners would find it interesting.
I use that as not the scholarly approach, but I sort of use that as an intro for a sermon on John 11 that I gave Vicar year for All Saints or Saints Triumphant. I use that as kind of an intro, like just imagine being in perfection, and then all of a sudden it gets snatched from you. What is Jesus doing? He calls Lazarus back. What? No, I had everything, and now I'm back, and I'm sinful again, and I don't. It's hard to say. What was it like for Lazarus? He did absolutely die. Yeah, the timing thing. So this is a weird doctrine thing, but the timing of us dying and then Judgment Day coming is a doctrinally an open question. We're not sure what the experience is like for people who die before Jesus' second coming. We're not sure if they experience time, if they experience the time without their body, or if it just sort of almost jumps to Judgment Day. It's not technically an answerable question. People are on both sides of it. They've got, I forget exactly what the arguments are. There's probably a Bible passage to point to for either one of them. Yeah. But we can't fathom not having time. So it's kind of an argument that breaks down on our part. Yeah. So who knows if he even really, did he experience heaven and then Paul talks about that. The man he knew, probably talking about himself, who experienced heaven and then came back and he couldn't talk about it. So maybe that's what Lazarus' experience was too.
Yeah.
We throw our hands up and say, I don't know, can't wait to experience it though.
That's a rabbit hole that has probably 30 rabbit holes inside of it. So as interesting as it would be to go further in, I feel like for the sake of the pod, it might be good if we just leave it at that. But I did want to go back to something I found interesting is you talked about how difficult that Christmas was after the miscarriage. And knowing what I know about your son Benedict is that it's kind of like a cool moment to see he was born on Christmas, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
That's a good Cody. You're connecting all the dots. That's amazing. Yeah.
That is just a really cool moment to, I mean, God has so many reasons for doing all the different things, but I mean, how beautiful is that? That, you know, a few years earlier, one of the most painful days of your life then turns into one of the most special days.
Yeah, absolutely. And we think it's really just such a blessing, such a joy that it happened like that. God obviously knows what he's doing when he does these things. Yeah, we found out that we were pregnant with him on Easter, which was, that was an amazing day. A scary day because we knew it could happen, but a really, really blessed day. And then, he was born on Christmas, so he's a very Christian little boy with the name Benedict. Found out about him on Easter, born on Christmas. Yeah, he's not escaping it. It definitely was. And I was not even remotely thinking about my sorrow on the Christmas that Benedict was born. That's the interesting thing. We have these moments that consume our entire being and our whole life for such a long time, and then we get to some date in the future, and I could do nothing but think about how happy and how blessed I was. It's just that's a God thing, I think, to replace our sorrow with joy.
Only he can do it.
Amen to that. Yeah, a lot of people try and do it, but no one gives like God.
This is maybe like a random side question, but what do you guys do for Christmas, like with Benedict's birthdays? Do you guys just like double load him, or do you guys like space it out some? I've always wondered what that's like for a Christmas birthday.
Yeah. Well, this was the first year we really had to consider it. The first 2 years, first year he has no idea, right? Second year he just likes opening presents. He doesn't really understand the idea of birthday or anything like that, and he knew he liked cake on his second birthday. Okay. But he didn't really get it. But this year he knew. Going to be a 3-year-old. He understood. He knew Christmas, Grandma and Grandpa are coming, and it's also my birthday. Yeah, so we did it. We did Christmas in the morning. So we woke up. We did presents. We always make, we being my wife Hannah, she makes a Christmas star. So kind of like a sweet treat. I don't know how to describe it, but cinnamon roll sort of deal in the shape of a star, which is really fun. It's part of our tradition. So when you get a family, build traditions. It really is a worthwhile endeavor. Side tangent. So then we went to church after that, came home, and then this year was a little weird because my parents came on Christmas Day, like at noon, and so we did presents again. So we did like 2 Christmases. And then after his rest time, after kind of nap time, he doesn't nap, but after nap time, then we did his birthday. So he came out of his room and he had construction vehicles and like blow up construction vehicle balloons and construction vehicle cake and presents. And he definitely understood at this time. So we just kind of split it up. Afternoon's his birthday, morning's Christmas. We've got a Merry Birthday poster or sign sort of thing. Yeah. Merry birthday in red and green. Yeah. So, well, you make it work.
That's a lot for one day.
Yes.
Guess you don't have to do it the rest of the year. So it's going to be tough in the future, though, for our birthday parties, I bet. That's the worst as a kid when no one comes to your birthday.
Right. Or everyone's going to come to his birthday party on Christmas morning.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have experience with this? You sounded so sad when you said that. Like
No.
Who hurt you, Logan?
I don't have experience with it. I just know what it's been like when you invite people and only like half of them can come, or the friend that you really wanted to come can't come. You're like, but it's all gonna be my lame friends now. Maybe I just have to do it like a month earlier or something like that.
When's your birthday?
October 21st.
Cody, you writing this down?
I know when his birthday is, so yeah.
You're gonna make sure you say happy birthday this year?
I usually try and take him out.
It's okay. I try not to acknowledge my birthday. I'm too old now.
I feel like, I mean, I turned 21 this year, and it's like, that's kind of like the last exciting birthday. I mean, like, what else do I had to look forward to now? Like being able to, like, what, rent a car at 25? Like, I don't know.
There's no other cool birthdays now. 26, when you have to start paying for your own health insurance. That's a fun one.
Yes.
So after this year tutor, you go out and you get another call and you're going to start serving a congregation somewhere. What's that like for you and your family? What's the thought process? Yeah, I'm just curious as to what that looks like for you.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. The MLC has been amazing. We didn't know it was going to be 3 years until it was. Okay, we had more heads up than that. Yeah, we didn't. We couldn't have imagined how good these 3 years have been. 2 2/3 year, I guess. But the whole time I've thought about the parish. It's not that going to a church has been out of my mind or on the back burner. It hasn't been something that I've coveted or anything like that. But working with people who are thinking about parish ministry, just knowing what's in my future, it's something that has always been on my mind in a positive way. Not in a distressing way where I'm so mad I'm not there already, but just in a way where it's always been there and I've always been excited about it for whenever that time comes. And now I don't know how many days away we are. You got to ask the people who are going to graduate from MLC and get their calls. However many days it is for them plus 5 days for me is when SEM call day is this year. Yeah, we're definitely excited about it. It's weird because now Benedict will probably be sad because we're going to move and he's going to understand what that is, that's going to be difficult. We haven't really broached that topic yet. It's probably the biggest wild card. Yeah, we're looking forward to parish life. I got into being a pastor to go to a church. I have lots of friends who are in churches that I talk to about their church stuff with them. So yeah, I'm excited for it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's tough because this has been home for his whole life.
I know. Yeah. He was 7 months old or something when we moved here. And he's a New Ulm kid, as my wife was. He's a New Ulm kid. He's from New Ulm. And it's true, which is weird to think because we've been here. It feels like such a short time, but it's been his entire existence. He's lived pretty much in the dorms. So you meet other kids and they're building houses with their Legos or with their Magnetiles, and he's building a dorm. Wow. That's weird. Wait. You're hearing me right, Logan? Yeah, he builds dorm.
That's crazy.
He's building like a dorm room?
No, like the dorm. Picture like a hotel. That's crazy. Not always, but sometimes, yeah. Wow. What do you want to build? He wants to build the dorm. Yeah. Built a lot of dorms in my day.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be weird for us, too. I mean, not as weird as it is for you having to, like, move and uproot your family, but, I mean, we have only ever known an MLC with Tudor Bush, like, being here. Yeah. So it'll be weird not having you.
It is weird, yeah.
So it'll be weird not having you. I don't know how we're going to make it.
You guys will survive. I'm confident. He's going to love it. He's going to love it. You definitely won't be treating him just like the next one. Like the 14th tutor you've ever had. Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk to the tutor next year. I'm not even going to look at him.
Every time we see the new tutor, we're just going to think of Tudor Bush.
Do you think that whenever you see Tudor Mortensen?
No, with Tudor Mortensen, I think of Savage.
Hey, you guys had him on the podcast. Yeah. No theme music, but
no, you're cooler. Yeah, for sure.
He'd acknowledge that too.
Oh, we actually, when we recorded with Tudor, he offered to make us breakfast, which that was pretty sick.
Did you guys record at his apartment or something?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, what?
At least I'm thinking of maybe one more question here before we get to devotional life. I don't know if you have anything that you would like to ask, Logan, but I was just wondering, what have you learned, like from a ministry perspective, from a faith perspective, maybe even as like a father perspective in 3 years at MLC that you're going to be able to take with you once you start serving your own congregation? Yeah,
you guys sent me a couple questions, and this is one of them, and I don't know that I have anything profound. I haven't had necessarily a moment here that has changed me in a massive way. There hasn't been any experience or moment where I thought, wow, this is forever impacted who I am. And I think it's actually been a blessing. in many ways, because the more life you live, the more you become who you are, and you see God's grace more and more clearly. But you don't necessarily have these like epiphany moments all the time. I'd say I already had a lot of those, and I'm sure that I still will, especially with my family. Once my kids get older and older, I'm sure I'm going to have some of these moments. I haven't had a huge, wow, I can't believe I lived life without this knowledge, this experience. It's been slow, steady growth. I've gotten, just personally, I continue to get just a little bit better at things like managing my time and being scheduled and being a father and husband and writing better sermons and teaching in a more interesting manner. And you just get a little bit improvement time over time. And I think that's just an honest thing about life. A lot like the Vicar Year conversation, where sometimes it's not always rainbows and sunshine. That's what life is. I don't think we should expect that we're going to have this mountaintop moment every year of our lives. It's just it's not realistic. So as I was thinking about how I didn't have anything profound to say, my most profound thought is that not everything is maybe as profound as, as it needs to be. Sorry, it's probably not good content for the pod, but
No, that was great.
It was real.
Because it's like, you spent 3 years here, and you maybe didn't have any quote-unquote noticeable changes or, like you said, mountaintop experiences, but you're not the same person as when you got here.
Absolutely.
And that's a big deal. And that shows that God's working and that you're still growing. Yeah, you don't need those big experiences that everybody craves, I think.
Right. Yeah, I think in many ways our culture has lifted up the experience and pushed down the ordinary in a way that's not always helpful, because most of life we live in just very ordinary circumstances. Most days of your life you will not remember.
That's an interesting thought.
You're not going to remember today.
Well, maybe.
I'll remember today. Today was the day we recorded with Tudor Bush. Yeah, we'll put it on the calendar.
You guys, you're too kind. You might. Okay, there's some things we're gonna remember, right? But most stuff in life, what you ate for lunch today, what homework you did, and it feels like, wow, we're doing this very impactful homework. Maybe it doesn't always feel that way, but hey, we're doing this studying of future seminary things, and we're improving and we're growing, and yet you probably won't remember the stuff you learned today, but it does form you, it does shape you. I think in the effort to chase the high, we're missing out on the beauty of just slow, consistent growth and modeling. I think about someone like Abraham, who has to wait and wait and wait and wait, and what that does to someone. That is what formation is. And he does have the mountaintop moments too, but they weren't every day. He gets a handful of those in his lifetime. Other than that, he is just living and daily having to trust in God. And that's where all of us are. Some days God blesses us with a profoundly positive memory that we're going to carry with us forever. And other days we just grow in God's grace a little bit. And it's hardly noticeable.
I mean, I know you said that you didn't think you were going to say anything profound, Tudor, but I thought that was actually really, really awesome. I mean, I'm definitely taking stuff away from that. There's so many different biblical examples that come to mind with that stuff too. I mean, Abraham's a great one. I think of Moses too. I mean, he tried leading Israel out of captivity his way, and then, he goes into Midian, spends 40 years there. I don't think he's necessarily thinking each day, wow, I'm growing so much, but he is. God's shaping him, he's molding him, and then when the time is right and God calls him, this is what you're going to do, he is in just a way better place to be able to do that. And I imagine, not to put words in your mouth at all, but there's probably something similar with going into your future congregation now. I mean, maybe there wasn't any big, awe-inspiring moment during the 3 years, but I mean, each single day you're growing more and more, and now your congregation is going to benefit that much more from you having that extra time to just learn and grow and develop at MLC.
Well said, Cody. Yeah, I've told people this before. Tutoring is kind of like a cheat code for a bunch of reasons. But it gives you time to grow and develop and refine every aspect of your life, because I'm going to be older. I'm going to be more mature. I'm going to have more experience by the time I get to a church. And while I took a lot away from Vicar Year, I've taken a lot away from this, but it's just little things. But when I get there, I'm going to be way better spot than I was, coming out at 26. Even just 3 more years of living life is it is a blessing. It does change who you are slightly, or refine you, or whatever you want to say.
And I know that you still have a whole semester still here at MLC, but are there any principles or words of wisdom that you're pondering as you're preparing to leave, and mentally and emotionally preparing to move into the next stage of your life?
I'm not sure if there's anything ultra specific. There's not one repeated phrase. I mean, I think my biggest kind of sub goal of this year, this semester, has just been to encourage and bring comfort and encouragement to people who are considering the ministry in a organic way, maybe, is what I'd call it. So I talked about this after evening chapel a couple weeks back. I guess I can rehash slightly. But I was presented with a choice as a third-year tutor. Third-year tutor land is strange. There are not very many of us, but we have the option as third-year tutors to receive a call early from the field in January, or to just get reassigned. And I just chose to be reassigned because I really want to leave students with this love and joy and fascination and wonder with Call Day and with assignment and with our Synod's training system. That's maybe the biggest thing. I don't worry about our students not liking Jesus enough. We do such a wonderful job of sharing the message of Christ crucified for us. But I think sometimes there's this underlying undercurrent. It's not always, because there's many people who love it here, but there's some pushback to our Synod training system. And I think it's just our natural inclination to be pessimistic. No matter how good something is, I'm going to find the thing that could be better. And I think that comes out often about MLC. We upgrade the food service, and, there's just new problems that people want to talk or complain about, right? So just how can I encourage the love for not just God or the ministry, but the process along the way, the system that we have committed to, MLC or the assignment committee or whatever the thing is that people push back on. That's maybe my biggest sub goal. I just want to keep doing it. That's the main goal, but sub goal would be to encourage that.
That's very cool. Yeah. And you have a unique opportunity to do that here at MLC.
Yeah, I feel blessed every day. Get to work with future called workers. Yeah, no one has it better than me. That's a Jim Harbaugh thing, I think. Yeah, all right. Who's got it better than us? Yeah, I'm going to come out of this, and I'm going to know half a generation of called workers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds familiar. Yeah.
The joy and beauty of that is not lost on me. This is
that's really cool.
It's a humbling experience, because I'm a Wells nobody, or I was a Wells nobody. I think now I'm, at least for 7 years of MLC students, a Wells somebody, I guess.
Do you feel like over this time at MLC, your teaching ability has just gotten a lot better, or where do you think it was when you came in?
Teaching was the most scary thing for me. Actual standing up in front of people and teaching. Sermons are great because you control everything. Yeah. I control what I'm going to say, and no one's going to ask me questions. Right. Unless you're in a Southern church, sometimes someone will.
It's also intimidating for me, so that's why I was asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you control everything, it's easier. But yeah, class is different. teaching Bible study is different. People will ask questions. People will share their own comments. I think I have grown a lot. Maybe a weird thing that I've grown in that you wouldn't think matters, but understanding people's questions better. That's the way that I've grown. Understanding what they're asking and why they're asking it. I think at first, or at least vicar year, I just really didn't have a good grasp. I knew how to say Bible things, but I didn't know how to respond to what they really were wanting to know or really were going to ask. So I think I've grown a lot in terms of understanding what the question is, which is a weird thing, but it's a helpful thing to know what someone's asking. That's probably been one of the bigger areas. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we talk about that in, it's called Advanced Christian Rhetoric for those people that don't know. But, and these topics or questions people have, like how could God exist if there's evil in the world? And, all the atrocities that religion has committed in the past, like how can we trust it? And we always talk about the attitude behind the question or the question behind the question. Because the reason someone's asking that is not because they really want an answer to that question. It's because they've probably been hurt in the past, or they don't have any hope, or they can't find the answers to the biggest questions that are bigger than that.
Right. Yeah, I think I've grown in that. Yeah.
Well, we always like to kind of wrap up each episode by asking about what does your devotional life, what does your prayer life look like? Is there any insights into that you could share with us and everyone listening?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to end. Maybe outro music. We'll work on that. It's too much to ask for. Baby steps. Yeah. So I've done a lot of different things, I suppose, over the years for my devotional life. The current thing that I'm doing is going through books of the Bible very slowly and writing just Luther's 4 strands, but like physically writing it. And then I pray after that.
Can you explain what are the 4 strands?
I know that there are people who have like acronyms for this, but I write down something interesting or many interesting things from whatever the text is. Confession, where is this showing me the law and my need for a Savior? Thanksgiving, which mostly just is the gospel. Where am I seeing Jesus? Where am I seeing his love and forgiveness? And then just a short little prayer, kind of summarize those thoughts. And then that kind of leads me into the rest of my prayers. So I've got a little notebook of people and things that I pray for. So one page of the notebook is things that I pray for like every day. Similar reoccurring things. So family is on there. Some of the members of the dorm staff are on there. There's a few students in particular that are on there that are going through hard things. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple particular friends that are on there. I pray that God's word would change my heart and my soul, just like God's word be edifying. Maybe an obvious prayer, but also it's nice to remember, actually do change my heart as I'm reading the Bible. I pray not to fall into any kind of conspiracy or, I'm blanking on the word, but scandal. There we go. Not to fall into scandal. And then I've got summit students, the dorm that I supervise, summit students listed on different pages. I just try and do one of those Monday through Thursday, really. And I, in theory, pray for every guy at least once a week. Doesn't always happen. It's not that I am the perfect devotional life person. There's some times when I simply don't do it. There are some times when I do it, but I don't do the full thing. I just read and I don't write anything. I don't pray through my summit guys. So that's one aspect. But I think maybe a big takeaway or uniqueness, I guess I don't know who you've had on the podcast fully. I didn't look at the list. But for me, one of the blessings is that my devotional life isn't just me in my devotional life, but I've got a family. And that time does count too. It doesn't only count if you're alone. So we do in the mornings, we do morning praise, just the spoken version. So 236 in the front of the hymnal. We just responsively say that. So like the little 3-sentence responses, and then the Song of Zechariah, and then we read a little section from the Bible, and then we pray, and we do that with our kids. And then at night we read some sort of picture Bible usually. Don't think just like silly little picture Bible though. We got a really, really nice one from a friend actually for Abel's baptism. His godparents got it for us. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a little bit more detailed, more elaborate, more descriptive. It is, cool. And it's a work of art. it's amazing. The Greatest Story Bible, I think is what it's called. Highly recommend that.
Oh, is that the comic book one?
Kind of. Yeah.
Or am I thinking of something else?
No, it's I don't know that I would say comic book, but it is similar where there's.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Action Bible. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a lot of different types. Yeah.
Whatever that amounts to, that's what I do. And I'm not someone who is ashamed to admit, like, you can get something out of your family devotional time too. It doesn't have to just be me sitting alone. Because honestly, when you have kids, like, you have less time. I would love to say that I spend an hour a day doing my own personal Bible study, but it's more like 15 minutes or 10 minutes sometimes. It's not. It's hard with all the vocations I have to dedicate a full hour or something like that. It'd be great, but the other times count too. When I pray with my kids before they go to bed, that counts as me praying too. It doesn't have to just be for them. It's not a performance. It is also me worshiping.
That sounds pretty diverse. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that you go. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm starting to have thoughts about, like, how do I incorporate like some basic catechism stuff. That's kind of the next step. Benedict is finally at the age where he can take on a little more meaty, and maybe not meat quite yet, but what's in between milk and meat? What was that?
Chopped up meat.
Yeah, chopped up blended meat. Soup. There we go. It's called soup. Yeah. So I'm thinking about that. If you guys have suggestions, I'm open to it.
I just want you to know that when we asked Tudor Mortensen that question, he does not read out of like the comic book Bible. He just does his personal devotion. So
really, I've seen it on his shelf. He's missing out. That's what I'll say.
No, but good for you, because I think reading the Bible, like, as a family, is one of the most important things as a parent that you need to do. Because if your kids don't see that it's important to you, it's not going to be important to them. So. Yeah. Good for you. Praise God for that.
Yeah.
Good for you. Praise God for that.
Yeah, thank you. And I just, blatant honesty, that's what podcasts are for, right?
Yep.
It doesn't always feel spectacular or special. There are many times, especially with the morning devotion one, because in the mornings my kids have a lot of energy, where it is really hard to wrangle them in, where it feels almost like you're just speeding through, or like they're not paying attention at all. Right. But you just got to kind of push through, and that's been one of my growth areas, just pushing through my kids' spastic energy, and just like we're just kind of doing it. We're just are they listening? I don't know. It's not. I can't figure that out. We're gonna do it. We're doing devotion, and we're building habits. That's what we're doing. We're showing it's important, and sometimes they are still listening. Abel can't show me he's listening yet, I guess. But I know Benedict is still listening, because he'll ask questions later on about, the leopards who we read about. And you're like, what? Leopards? Oh, the guys with leprosy. I understand what you're talking about. That's right. Yeah, that didn't make sense to you.
Yeah, well, the words are still sinking in, whether they, are actually actively listening or not. So.
I mean, having patience with your kids in the morning probably helps you with patience with your college students in the afternoon when you're teaching BHL, I imagine. Yeah. Well, Tudor, just thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. This is a really awesome episode to record. A lot of cool conversations. And I think I speak for really all of MLC family here who might be listening. Just we appreciate everything that you've done for the Lord here in the last 3 years. things that you will continue to do until it's time to say farewell at the end of the year. But we really appreciate it, Tutor. It's been awesome.
I've been looking forward to this one for a while,
Yeah.
ever since we had it on the schedule. And because I knew you, but I didn't like know you very well. So this has been a fun opportunity to get some more context to the entity that is Tutor Bush.
The entity. There's so many different words you could have chosen, and you went with entity.
The absolute unit.
Keep trying. No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, and if you're listening and you're an MLC student, just know that I love you, and Jesus loves you, and this is a great place to be. And the next tutor will love you too. He won't be as cool as I am.
We'll make sure to tell him that.
Next year when we're recording with a new tutor, we'll be sure to point him back to this episode.
Thanks for coming on. Just so you know, you're cool, but not as cool as Tutor Bush.
Appreciate you guys. You guys are this is fun. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you, Tutor, for everything. We really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys got at least something out of it. I know we all did. And yeah, just blessings on all of our weeks, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.